Yo, what's up guys? It's Noah here, and in today's video, we're going to be breaking down the NBA slate on Draftkings and Yahoo for Thursday, March the 25th. Got just a 5-game slate for Thursday, but as always, we're going to break this slate down team by team, go game by game, and talk about each team on the slate. Just give you guys my early thoughts, what does stand out to me looking at this slate on Wednesday night, what stands out the night before. So before we do get started with the breakdown, guys, as always, I would appreciate it if you would hit that like button down below. If you are new to the channel here, be sure to click that subscribe button as well. Click the notification bell so that way you do get notified every time I upload. You also get notified every time I do go live. Now, I'm not sure yet if I'll be live streaming this afternoon. If I do go live, it'll probably be a little bit earlier than normal because I do have some things to do later in the afternoon. I have some people coming over to visit. So if I go live, it'll probably be earlier, around 3:30 Eastern time maybe. Just to be determined. Check my YouTube channel around that time. See if there is an upcoming stream tab. If there is, that probably means I'm going live. If there's not, then, I guess I wasn't able to. But yeah, we'll see if I can go live this afternoon. Either way, though, guys, wish you the best of luck on tonight's slate. And let's go ahead and get started with the breakdown. So we'll start off with this Portland and Miami game. On the Portland side today, there really isn't a ton that stands out from Portland for me. Damian Lillard at 10K, I think, continues to be, I would say, a little bit overpriced. Now that CJ McCollum is back, I just don't know if Lillard is going to be someone I try and get or go out of my way to play at 10K. On a shorter slate like this with only 5 games, sure, Lillard's someone you could look to pay up for, but we do have a lot of guys that are a little bit cheaper that I think I prefer over Lillard today. Plus, it's not the best matchup against Miami. Now, CJ McCollum at 7,200 does still feel a little bit too cheap. His minutes, they've kind of been all over the place, but last game against Brooklyn, something that was great to see, he got up to 38 minutes, so I think the minutes restriction is basically gone for CJ McCollum. He's going to play 36, 38 minutes today if the game stays close. The one issue with McCollum right now is that, he hasn't really been producing that well. Last game he shot pretty poorly. He did have that really good game against Dallas, but the production's been, it's a lot more inconsistent right now than you would expect it to be. But I think, as McCollum just gets more time in, I think he's, going to get back into form and going to be a guy that puts up, 35, 40 DK points a night, most nights. At 7,200, if we're getting 36, 38 minutes from CJ McCollum tonight, I think he looks pretty good at this price point, and I definitely prefer him over Lillard for the savings. Sure, McCollum could disappoint again and have a bad shooting night. He's coming back from injury. He might still be a little rusty, but I think the price tag on McCollum does make him appealing now that the minutes, are basically back to what we expect them to be. And then Enes Kanter, he had that massive game last game against Brooklyn, played 39 minutes, which was crazy for Enes Kanter. Normally he's not a guy that plays that much, but he went absolutely nuclear against Brooklyn, had 19 and 19 with 6 assists, 1 block, finished with 55 DK points. This is a tougher matchup here against Miami. I don't know if we're going to get, those minutes from Kanter again. But I think as long as this game stays close, he probably does play around 32, 34 minutes. Kanter is obviously a very productive player when he's on the floor. He's a guy that can score. He's a great rebounder. I still do have some interest in him. I think there's some other centers I prefer today. They're a little bit cheaper, but definitely think Enes Kanter is viable. I'm probably not going to be going to anyone else on Portland, though. I will just mention Derrick Jones Jr. just because, it's a shorter slate, only 5 games. There really isn't a ton of standout value right now. He's only 3,900, which is pretty cheap for a guy that's most likely going to play, around 30 to 32 minutes. That's what he's played in 3 of his last 4 games. And the one game where he didn't get 30 minutes was, a big-time blowout against Dallas. I think we're going to get like 30, 32 minutes from Derrick Jones Jr. here for 3,900. If you need a cheap forward, I don't mind him. He's never someone I really enjoy rostering, but we're kind of desperate for value. There's not a ton of great cheap plays today, so I do have some interest in DJJ. I think my main 2 targets, though, from Portland, definitely CJ McCollum and Enes Kanter. Those are the 2 guys I like most. Now, on the Miami side, Goran Dragic is currently questionable, so this is actually a pretty important injury to watch because last game, Kendrick Nunn had a huge game without Goran Dragic. Now, the game before that, Dragic was also out. So Dragic was out when they played the Pacers, and Nunn only played 23 minutes in that game. But last game, he did get 35 minutes. He was really productive, had 32 DK points. I think the production from a night-to-night basis is going to be up in the air for Kendrick Nunn. When he's playing alongside Butler and Bam and all these guys, you just don't know what you're going to get from Kendrick Nunn. He's obviously a lot more productive when those guys are off the floor. But I would say his path to 30-plus minutes like we saw last game, his path to getting those minutes is definitely there with Goran Dragic out just because, that's one less guard they have that they can give minutes to instead of Nunn. I think Nunn probably plays around 30 minutes today if Dragic remains out for 4,600 in a good matchup against Portland. I definitely like Kendrick Nunn. I think he'd be my favorite guy to target from Miami today if Dragic were to sit. if Dragic were to be out again, that would definitely be a little boost for Tyler Hero as well. Now, Hero actually saw his minutes come down a little bit, whereas Nunn's, went up. The game before that, though, it was Nunn who didn't play a ton, and Hero played 36 minutes. I think most nights, though, Hero's probably going to get around 30 minutes regardless. It's just, if Hero gets like 36 minutes, that probably means that Nunn is not playing as much. But if Hero only plays like 30 minutes, that probably means Nunn gets close to 30 minutes as well. You could definitely go to Hero at 5,400. I think I'd rather take the savings, though, and play Kendrick Nunn. I'm probably only going to go to these guys, though, if Dragic sits. If Dragic plays, I don't really have any interest in any of these Miami guards. But then, you got Bam and Jimmy. Like, Jimmy's at 9K. His price has come down, a good amount from, when Bam was out and he was going out there and smashing, like, every night. The upside, I would say, on Jimmy, it's a little bit lower with Bam now on the floor and Bam playing, but we still know Jimmy can go out there and put up 50 plus DK points any night. It is a good matchup against Portland. I think there are some other studs I prefer today, but you could go to Jimmy Butler at 9K. Same with Bam Adebayo. You could definitely go to him at 8K, but I think there's just other centers I'd rather go to on this slate. It is a really good matchup though for Bam. Enes Kanter really never been that good of a defender. So don't mind Bam either, but I think my main interest from Miami, if Goran Dragic is out, my main interest will be Kendrick Nunn at 4,600. But yeah, we can go ahead and move on to the next game, Washington and New York. So on the Wizards today, I don't have too much interest in this team outside of Westbrook and Beal. Westbrook at 10,900. These teams did just play last game. Westbrook was terrible. He had 40 DK points in only 29 minutes. They got blown out by the Knicks. He had a terrible shooting game, just really, really bad game from Westbrook. I would expect him to bounce back here, but, is he someone I really want to go out of my way to play today? I don't think so. I really like some of the guys we have in like the 8K range. I think that, the upper mid-range is really solid today. I don't know if I'm going to be paying up for really anyone above 10K. That includes Westbrook. That includes Damian Lillard. You could play these guys, obviously. If you're playing multiple lineups, I think Westbrook's someone you want to have in your player pool. But me, personally, I've just been playing one lineup recently, and I don't know if I'm going to get to Westbrook in my one lineup. Same could be said with Bradley Beal for 9,200. Beal's a lot cheaper. He's been up and down this year for sure. Like we've seen the floor on Bradley Beal is pretty low compared to Westbrook just because Beal, he's a lot more scoring dependent than Westbrook is. Westbrook, we know, can contribute with rebounds. He can contribute with assists. Whereas Bradley Beal, not really doing that this year. Really, he's a guy that needs to go out there and put up 30 to 40 real life points to really have a good game. Could he do that? Yeah, but I don't have much interest in either of these Washington guards. And honestly, the Wizards are just not a team I really want to target today. Alex Len, after playing 29 minutes against Brooklyn, last game he only played 12 minutes. Like, it's just, we never know what we're getting from Alex Len. I don't think I really want to go there. Rui Hachimura, he just feels, appropriately priced, if not a little bit too expensive. He's been getting huge minutes, but do I want to pay $5,800 for Rui in a tough matchup? Not really. So, yeah, I just don't really like any of these Wizards today. Obviously, Westbrook and Beal would be the two guys I'd look to, but don't think the Wizards are going to be a team I have that much exposure to. Now, on the Knicks side, I think the Knicks do look a lot more appealing just because it's a really good matchup for them. Julius Randle at the top for 10,200. I think if I was going to play anyone above 10K today, it would be Julius Randle. Love this matchup here against Washington. He did play 38 minutes last game against the Wizards. He was on pace to play around 40 minutes, but he did get pulled a little early due to the blowout. Had a really good shooting game. He scored a ton. He just didn't really contribute with the peripherals, which is, normally something we don't see. Like, normally Julius Randle is a guy that can go out there and get you, 8 to 10 rebounds. He can get you 5 to 6 assists. He only had 6 rebounds and 2 assists last game. But he did have 37 points, continued to dominate the usage, took 24 shots in that game. Like, Julius Randle just going to go out there and stuff the stat sheet every night. The matchup's great. He has a ton of upside here. The price tag did go up a little bit, but I still think Julius Randle does look like a solid pay-up option. I don't know if he's going to be someone I really try and jam in. Like, I think on this slate, unless we get a lot of value, I don't know if I'm going to be really building around Julius Randle, but maybe if some value does open up, there are a couple teams on back-to-backs today, so maybe some guys could get rested and we get some value. Then I'll definitely be prioritizing Randle. Right now, don't know if I'm going to prioritize him just because we don't have that much value that really makes it easy to pay up for these, 10K and above guys. But Randle, clearly a really good play here against a bad Wizards team. RJ Barrett, now he had a really good game when these teams did just play. He had 38 DK points in 39 minutes. He continues to get monster minutes. Him and Randle are playing around 40 minutes a night. In a good matchup like this, I think, RJ Barrett is someone you could definitely look to. I wish he was a little bit cheaper, but even at 6,800, he has the upside to pay off that price tag in a really good matchup like this. Now, Burks and Quickly, I'm not that high on. Now that Elfrid Payton is back, Derrick Rose, he's currently questionable. We'll need to keep an eye on this. He's with the team. He just hasn't been playing recently due to conditioning. But if he's able to play today, like that just, makes it even more muddy. We'll just have, they have so many guards now. Like Quickly, obviously, is healthy. Payton is back. Burks has been getting minutes. Like Rose could maybe be back. I just don't know if I'm going to be really going to any of these Knicks guards today. I would say that if Rose remains out, then you can maybe go to Elfrid Payton. He actually was really productive last game in only 21 minutes. He did have 24 DK points. He started. He's probably going to start and get like around 30 minutes, I would say, while Rose remains out, if Rose does not play today. So I guess if Derrick Rose does remain out, you could go to Elfrid Payton. I think I would rather play Elfrid Payton over Emmanuel Quickly. Quickly, I believe, got around the same amount of minutes. He only played 12 minutes last game, so yeah, like Quickly coming off the bench, he's just not a guy that I really want to roster at 5,500. If I was going to play any of the Knicks guards, I think it would be Elfrid Payton. Alec Burks, he got 29 minutes off the bench, 30 DK points. His price has come up to a point where I don't have that much interest in him now that Payton is back. So yeah, I think if Rose sits and he remains out, I don't mind Payton in tournaments as a lower owned option at 5,100. We know Elfrid Payton has upside when he's getting, around 30 minutes. But really the guy I think that I like the most from the Knicks today is Mitchell Robinson. So Mitchell Robinson, only 5,100, came off the bench last game, but still played 31 minutes, which was great to see. He did come off the bench his first game back, only played 17 minutes, but last game he got 31 minutes. My best guess is that Mitchell Robinson probably moves back into the starting lineup. Like, he's not going to keep coming off the bench. He's their starting center. He should be their starting center. So I assume he goes back into the starting lineup today. But even if he comes off the bench, like 5,100 for Robinson, this is a pretty cheap price point, especially if he is going to play around 30 minutes. He's been really good so far this year against the Wizards. They've played twice, and he's dominated in both matchups. First game was, I believe it was a game where he got injured. I think he had 34 DK points at halftime against the Wizards last time they played, or when they played, back in February. And then their most recent game, you got 40 DK points in 31 minutes from Mitchell Robinson. Been really good in this matchup. It makes sense because the Wizards, they're not a good defensive team. They're a pretty bad rebounding team. This is definitely a spot where Mitchell Robinson can dominate on the glass. I like him a lot at 5,100. I'm going to like him even more if he moves back into the starting lineup. But even if he does come off the bench again, I think we get probably around 30 minutes from Mitchell Robinson. So definitely someone I'll be looking to as a cheaper center option. I like him on Yahoo as well, coming in at $16 over there. Definitely someone I'll be playing or at least I'll have interest in. Can't say for sure if I'm going to play him yet because so much news that could come out during the day. But definitely have interest in Robinson. Just early look. He's someone I for sure will be targeting today. But I think that does it for the Knicks. My main interest in this team, I think, is Randall and Robinson. But I don't mind Elfrid Payton. I don't mind R.J. Barrett either. Elfrid Payton, dependent on Derrick Rose's status. We can go ahead and move on to the next game, the Clippers and the Spurs. So these teams did play on Wednesday night. I'm assuming that everyone's going to be good to go here, but it is a back-to-back for both teams, so just keep an eye on that. You got Kawhi at 8,800, PG at 7,800. I think both these two guys do feel a little bit too cheap today. Normally I don't go out of my way to play either one of Kawhi or PG when they're both healthy. But on a shorter slate like this, only 5 games, I think these are two guys you could definitely look to roster. There are some other guys I prefer priced around them. Like I prefer Ben Simmons, De'Aaron Fox, who we're going to talk about later. I really like that Golden State-Sacramento game. But yeah, you could go to Kawhi, you could go to PG. Ivica Zubac, though, I still like him a lot. 5,600, honestly, it still feels a little bit too cheap. We already know that Serge Ibaka is going to be out once again for Thursday's game. So Zubac should start and probably play around 30 minutes. The first 2 games he started for Ibaka, he played 35 minutes in both of those games. The game against Charlotte was a blowout. He still played 25 minutes there. And then last game against Atlanta, he didn't play at all in the fourth quarter, but he still played 25 minutes in that game. I'm going to pull up the game log real quick for Wednesday night. So Wednesday night, he has played, so far, there's 4 minutes left in the third quarter. Zubac's played 25 minutes already. Not even, 4 minutes left in the third quarter. He's already played 25 minutes. He has 12 and 7 with 1 assist and 1 steal. So he's got about 22 DK points in 25 minutes on Wednesday night. I like Zubac once again. I think the minutes are going to continue to be there while Ibaka is out. He's around a fantasy point per minute player. He should probably be priced around $6K. I think, Zubac does still remain a little bit too cheap if he's going to continue to get big minutes like he has been. He's probably my favorite play overall from the Clippers. I do like him on Yahoo as well. He's still very affordable over there, $15. I think him and Robinson both look like very solid, cheaper center options we can look to today. And then Marcus Morris, 4,800. He's been playing really well lately since being moved into the starting lineup. He's been getting the minutes as well. I'm pretty sure he had another solid game Wednesday night, or he is having another solid game on Wednesday night. Normally Marcus Morris is not going to be insanely productive playing alongside Kawhi and PG, but so far, he's been scoring pretty well. He's been getting some rebounds. Definitely can give you, around 30 DK points, which is solid for 4,800. So I have interested in Marcus Morris as well. He is still very cheap on Yahoo. He's $11 at power forward. So if you need a cheap power forward, I think Marcus Morris looks really good on Yahoo. Definitely have interest in him. But that probably does it for the Clippers. I think my main interests are Zubac and Morris, and then you could definitely go to Kawhi and PG as well. Probably won't be targeting anyone else on this Clippers team, though. On the Spurs side, I don't see too much I like on San Antonio today. Everyone just feels appropriately priced. I really didn't have any interest in any Spurs on Wednesday slate, and even though we only have 5 games today, I still don't have much interest in any of these Spurs guys. DeRozan for 8,200. I think I'd rather play PG and Kawhi on the other side of this game. I'd rather play some of the other studs we're going to talk about, some of the other guys in that price range. Dejounte Murray, kind of the same thing. There's just other guards I prefer over him. I really don't like anyone on the Spurs team that much today. Lonnie Walker, he did not play Wednesday. I don't think that really is going to impact too much, but him and Rudy Gay were both out Wednesday. Maybe if they sit again, you get a few more minutes for Keldon Johnson or a few more minutes for Patty Mills, or Derek White as well. I just don't really have much interest in any of these Spurs. I don't think the Spurs, unless they rest somebody, I don't think they're going to be a team I really look to get much exposure to. So moving on to the next game, the Sixers and the Lakers. Now, this is one I do have some interest in, kind of on both sides. Ben Simmons, 8,600. I like quite a bit on both sides today. Love that on DK you can play him at small forward, still has small forward eligibility. On Yahoo, he's a point guard, but I think he looks like a really good option as well over on Yahoo, coming in at $38. Ben Simmons, definitely someone I have interest in. We know without Joel Embiid, the upside is a lot higher for Ben Simmons. I know he's been bad lately. We really haven't seen a good game from him. Basically, these last 4 games have all been without Embiid, and really the only good game he had was against Milwaukee. That game went to overtime. He played 45 minutes, had 53 DK points. But in this matchup against the Lakers, a Lakers team without LeBron, without AD, I don't expect this team to really slow down Ben Simmons. They don't really have an elite defender that's going to stop him. At 8,600, I think the upside is still, high enough to where we could definitely be looking to Ben Simmons at this price point. I think with him struggling lately, with him having 2 bad back-to-back games or 2, bad games back-to-back, that's definitely going to keep his ownership down, going to keep it in check. I don't see him being that popular at all today, even on a shorter slate like this. So I really like Ben Simmons, him and Tobias Harris. I just expect them to dominate the usage while Embiid is off the floor. You could definitely go to Tobias Harris as well. He's been a lot more consistent than Ben Simmons. He's shown, good upside as well. Had a big game last game against Golden State, 49 DK points in 36 minutes. At 8,400, you could definitely look to Tobias Harris as well. I like him and Simmons both, a good amount today. Now, Dwight Howard, last game he only played 14 minutes. Tony Bradley played really well. Even at 5,500, the price tag did come down. I don't have that much interest in Dwight Howard today. I think his minutes are going to fluctuate from game to game. Last game, Bradley played really well, so they gave Bradley a lot of minutes. If Bradley plays really well again, there's a good chance Dwight Howard only plays 20 minutes. So tough to roster him at 5,500. Now, right now, Seth Curry and Danny Green are both questionable, so these are kind of important injuries to watch. If they both wind up out, I don't think that really affects a ton of guys in terms of usage. I expect Harris and Simmons to dominate the usage, but it does free up a lot of minutes. You would probably see some more minutes for Shake Milton, some more minutes for Korkmaz. Maybe Tybal get some more minutes as well. I don't know if I really want to play Tybal or Korkmaz, but Shake Milton, he is someone that can be productive when he does get the minutes. He got 22 last game. I think if Curry and Green are both out, we'd probably get 25, 26 minutes from Shake Milton. At 5,200, I actually would have a good amount of interest in him if Curry and Green are both out. Curry's been out recently. Green, questionable though, so yeah, if both those guys remain out, or if both those guys are out, I have some interest in Shake Milton, but definitely my main interest from this Sixers team is going to be with Ben Simmons and Tobias Harris. Tony Bradley had that good game last game, but this kind of feels like the Alex Len situation. The minutes are going to fluctuate from game to game. He could play 30 minutes one night. He could play 18 minutes one night. If you want to take a shot on him, you can. I don't feel very confident in Tony Bradley. I'd rather find the salary to get up to guys like Zubac or Mitchell Robinson. I prefer them over Bradley. So, yeah, I think that does it for the Sixers. Now, looking at the Lakers today, we know LeBron and AD are going to remain out. So, guys like Montrezl Harrell, Kyle Kuzma, Dennis Schroeder, I think are going to be guys we can look to almost on a nightly basis until they get too expensive. I think where they're priced at right now, they're still not that expensive. I don't know if they really stand out as top options. Like Montrezl Harrell at 7K, I don't want to say he really stands out as a top option here, but we know he's going to play around 30 to 32 minutes off the bench. Marc Gasol has been out recently for conditioning. He could maybe return today. I don't think that really is going to affect Harrell too much. I still expect Harrell to get pretty good minutes off the bench regardless. At 7K with no Embiid, it's a slightly better matchup for Harrell. Definitely not as bad of a matchup as you would think. So you could definitely go to him at 7K. I prefer these cheaper centers, but Harrell's viable. Kyle Kuzma, 6,900. He had a terrible shooting game last game, but he was really able to contribute with the peripherals, which was great to see. He had 7 assists and 10 rebounds last game. I think the peripherals are going to be, a lot higher for Kuzma with LeBron and AD off the floor. Like, he's just going to be able to get more rebounds. He's going to have the ball in his hands more. He'll be able to get more assists. We saw him get 6 rebounds and 6 assists in the first game without AD and LeBron. So, yeah, I definitely like Kyle Kuzma. I would say of Schroeder, Harrell, and Kuzma, I think Kuzma is my favorite of the three. I do like Kuzma a lot on Yahoo. If you do play over there, he looks really good on Yahoo. He's $24. I think, as a power forward option in that mid-range, I definitely like Kuzma. Like Harrell is $29 on Yahoo, Kuzma's $24, and then Schroeder is $24. So basically, Harrell's a little bit more expensive, and then Kuzma and Schroeder are the same price points. I think I'd probably rather play Kuzma over Schroeder. Schroeder, he's not been that great lately. He did have 35 DK points in 35 minutes last game. He didn't shoot the ball that well. He only took 10 shots, only shot 2 for 10 from the field. But he did have 7 assists and 4 rebounds to go along with 15 points. He went to the free throw line 10 times, or 12 times, which was good to see. But yeah, you could definitely go to Dennis Schroeder as well. Like, we know his upside is a lot higher with LeBron and AD off the floor. He hasn't been great lately, but still, I think there's definitely potential for Schroeder at 6,800. But between him and Kuzma and Harrell, Kuzma, Harrell, I prefer Kuzma between those three. Now, Talen Horton-Tucker, at his price point, I don't have much interest in him. He went back to only playing 19 minutes last game after playing 28 minutes the game before. I think the minutes are going to fluctuate for Talen Horton-Tucker. I don't have much interest in him on DK. His price went up a little bit on Yahoo to $16. Like, I don't think I'm really going to be going to THT today. Same with Markieff Morris. Like, he just feels too expensive at $4,700. If he was maybe like 4K or 3,800, I'd have more interest. But at $4,700, not much interest in Markieff. I really think it's just these three guys, Harrell, Kuzma, and Schroeder. Like, those are really the only three guys I like from the Lakers today. And of those three, I think Kyle Kuzma is my favorite of the three. I think he just gives you the most upside. I think he's likely to be more consistent of the three as well. His minutes will probably be the highest of those three as well. But yeah, we can go ahead and talk about this last game on the night, Golden State and Sacramento. So this is a very appealing game. This is definitely one I have some interest in on both sides. So Draymond Green, you have at 7,700. We haven't really seen good games from Draymond in back-to-back games. Only 24 DK points against Memphis, just 32 DK points last game against Philly. The price tag is still up there at 7,700. I would say at this price point, Draymond doesn't really stand out as a top option or a core play, but someone I'd be looking to in tournaments just because we know Draymond has that triple-double upside. He's someone that can go out there and just stuff the stat sheet, can do a little bit of everything. It's a really good matchup against Sacramento. It should be a very fast-paced game. Have interest in Draymond in tournaments. Andrew Wiggins, he was terrible last game. Only 17 DK points in 34 minutes. I think Wiggins is viable, but there are some other guards I prefer over him today. Same could be said with Kelly Oubre. Now, Kelly Oubre did actually have a really good game last game. We finally saw Oubre, knock down some shots. He did have 10 rebounds as well. I think Oubre does look like a pretty solid option. Is he a top play for me? No, but in tournaments, I think at 6,200, he still has the upside to pay off this price point to be a really good play at this price. Oubre is obviously a pretty inconsistent guy. Like, we've seen games where he just can't make a shot and he'll finish with, 25, 30 DK points. But when he's knocking down shots, when he's aggressive and he's, attacking the rim, like, Oubre can go out there and put up 20 and 10 like he did last game. It's a good matchup against Sacramento. It's a fast-paced game. I have some interest in Kelly Oubre. I think, honestly, I'd rather play Kelly Oubre over Andrew Wiggins. And when you factor in price of the three guys like Green, Wiggins, Oubre, I think Oubre, honestly, might be my favorite. Now, Jordan Poole, while Curry remains out, should continue to start, play big minutes, played nearly 40 minutes last game. He didn't have that good of a game, but if he's going to get 38 to 40 minutes a night, even at 6,100, I like Jordan Poole. I have some interest in him as well on this slate. He's someone I'll for sure be looking to. And then I do want to mention James Wiseman. So James Wiseman, last game, he did start and played 26 minutes, and the Warriors have already come out and said that he is going to be their starting center moving forward. So if James Wiseman's going to continue to start, play around 25 to 30 minutes, 4,800 in a good matchup against Sacramento, like, that's a pretty appealing price point on James Wiseman as well. Like, I don't know if there's any clear core, like I don't know if there's any core plays from Golden State, like guys that I would just for sure be locking in, but there are definitely a lot of guys here that I want exposure to. You know, I would definitely have them in my player pool: Draymond, Wiggins, Oubre, Poole, Wiseman. Like, I think all 5 of those guys are viable today. I'm probably not going to anyone else on Golden State. I don't know if I really want to go to any of the bench guys, but I think all the starters look appealing. I would say ranking them, it would probably be Oubre number 1, Wiseman 2, Poole 3, Draymond 4, and Wiggins 5 if I had to rank the Golden State starters. But like I said, all 5 are viable. Obviously, I wouldn't be playing them all in the same lineup, but I think, 2 of these guys, maybe 3, is totally fine. I think Wiseman and Oubre, though, are my favorite when you factor in price point. Now, Wiseman, the only thing that sucks, he's center only, and you have guys like Mitchell Robinson, Zubac, who also look good at the center position. I do have some interest in Wiseman as a cheap center. I know on Yahoo, Wiseman was minimum salary last slate, and he's minimum salary once again, so I think on Yahoo, minimum salary for James Wiseman, definitely someone I'll be interested in there. But yeah, we can go ahead and talk about the Sacramento side now. So De'Aaron Fox, we got at 8,700 at the top here. I really like De'Aaron Fox on this slate. I think he's someone I'll definitely be looking to in that mid-range. Does just feel a little bit too cheap here for what should be a really good matchup against Golden State, what should be a really fast-paced game. Fox, we know, has a ton of upside. He does play really well in these fast-paced games. I did have a good amount of interest in him on Wednesday slate when they played Atlanta. That game's going on right now as I'm recording this video, but yeah, I do like Fox here. On the back-to-back, I wouldn't really be worried about his minutes. He's been getting normal minutes basically every game. He's been playing big minutes basically every game. I really like De'Aaron Fox today, and I like Tyrese Halliburton as well. Halliburton coming in at 6K. He's someone I'll for sure be looking to as well on DK. Played 36 minutes last game against Cleveland. Going to continue to start and should get big minutes while Marvin Bagley remains out. I liked him a lot on Wednesday slate. I'm not sure what he's doing right now, but I guess I can pull that up real quick. But yeah, Halliburton, Fox, like both of them here in a fast-paced game in what should be, a high-scoring game overall, what should be, probably the high-scoring game on the night. Looking at this Kings game, though, as I'm recording this video, Fox, 5 points through 5 minutes. Tyrese Halliburton has 3 rebounds, 1 assist. So both have gotten off to, I don't want to say a slow start, but yeah, regardless, I like both these guys. I like both these Kings guards. The minutes we know are going to be there. You're going to see both play probably 36 to 38 minutes if this game stays close, and they both feel a little bit underpriced, so definitely like Fox and Halliburton today, and I like him on Yahoo as well. You got Fox coming in at $39. I think that's a very appealing price tag for him, and then Halliburton, only $20 at shooting guard. I think he looks really good on Yahoo at the shooting guard position. So those are probably my 2 favorite guys from Sacramento today. Richaun Holmes, I don't mind in tournaments. I think there's some other guys I prefer for cheaper. Like, there's definitely cheaper centers I prefer: Mitchell Robinson, Wiseman, Zubac. But yeah, you could definitely go to Richaun Holmes. We saw Tony Bradley have a huge game against this Warriors team. I would not be surprised to see a big game from Richaun Holmes here, so don't mind him. Buddy Hield, he's an okay option. Feel like he's appropriately priced, though. Same with Harrison Barnes. I think my main interests definitely are the guards, Fox and Halliburton. Those are my 2 main interests from this Sacramento team. But yeah, guys, I think that does it for this Golden State-Sacramento game. I think that does it for all 5 games tonight. So I appreciate you watching the video, guys. I hope you did enjoy. Hit that like button before you do get out of here. Hit that subscribe button as well. Be sure to click the notification bell so that way you do get notified every time I upload. You also get notified every time I do go live. Should be live this afternoon, a little bit earlier than normal. It's to be determined, but if I am able to go live, I'll probably be live around 3:30 Eastern time if you guys do want to tune in and check out the stream on Thursday afternoon. But yeah, best of luck tonight, guys. Thanks for watching the video. Hope you enjoyed. We'll see you in the next one. Peace.